We're live, baby.
We did it. Welcome, everybody. We are super excited to be back doing our weekly SEO Jam. We missed a couple weeks. Lane has been moving behind the scenes and pulling some stuff, some strings for those of you guys who don't know us already, especially for those of you guys in my group. What the hell, man? I'm Frankie Fihn. I wrote this book. That's how a lot of people know me, and that is Lane Houk, and he is the SEO Jedi himself, founder of Quantum Agency. For those of you guys who are interested, they have really cool white label services where you can resell their stuff. Anyway, Lane, we were talking a little bit off air, and we were talking about one of the big challenges in SEO is not related to Google. It is not related to backlinks. It is not related to selling it. It's this 2 to 4 month mark, this window of time where clients have now hired you and the SEO is probably progressing, but they may be number 7 on Google, or they may be number 5, and the phone isn't really ringing in any sort of measurable way. And this is when clients start to like doubt and worry and say this, well, I'm not seeing an ROI. It's not really working. And I'll tell you, nothing used to piss me off personally more is like when I have a client where like it would realistically take 6 months to rank and they would cancel at 4 and we would have gone like 3/4 of the race. And then they're like, well. So anyways, I wanted to hear your thoughts on this first, and I got plenty to say on my own, but let's
For sure. I mean, I just directly address this before they're even a client. And I literally call it the process of unselling them. If you don't do this in SEO, you set yourself up for that 2 to 4 month mark churn where you're just you lose some of these clients because you didn't really try to actually unsell them from becoming an SEO client by testing them and their resolve or their commitment to a real SEO strategy and implementation, which takes a year, not 3 months or 4 months.
Yeah.
And so the way that I handle that is a couple of very direct ways. Typically, if I did it, I usually do a 2 meeting close type of process where you meet with the prospect. You do some discovery questioning, just get a lot of intel from them, find out their pain points, let them talk, don't sell, don't talk as much, and get all that intel, and then do a quick presentation around what makes you different, how to solve their problems, and then ask if they'd like to, if they'd like a formal proposal. Sometimes they just come out and say, well, what's it going to cost, right? I'm glad you asked. Let's go ahead and set up a meeting for next week, and I'll put together a proposal or an estimate for you. We can meet together next week and go through it, right? So we meet next week, and I know they're now really and first of all, in that first meeting, I also address this directly, and then I address it again in the closed meeting. So the way I typically would address it was just simply something like, all right, so I can see or hear from you that you're interested in embarking on kind of a web presence optimization or SEO campaign. You know that we're a little bit different in this. We take a holistic SEO approach. We're going to really manage kind of a lot of the different data points around your company, your entity, in the process of generating signals and moving the needle up the rankings for your company's main website and main Google listing. To do that is a process, not an event. Let me repeat that. This is a process, not an event. The only entities or assets that Google's algorithm puts on page 1 are the top authorities for any different keyword search in any different locality. And so it is really about building authority. And you have competitors who have built greater authority than you, at least in the terms of the algorithm. Let's not argue about whether they really have more authority than you in the actual industry. But in terms of the algorithm is looking at them and saying they have more authority based on all the different data points around their company, their entity versus yours. And so that's why they're on page 1 and you're on page 10 or 8 or wherever you're at for all the different keywords that matter. And so we have to build your authority to overtake the competitors who are actually on page 1. And that's a process, not an event. Yeah. And that process will take a good full year. Now, within that year, we will start to see progress. and we expect to see progress. And if we don't see progress early on, then we'll know something is wrong and we'll have to dig in deeper. But we'll start to see progress and we'll measure that progress. But getting you all the way to page 1 means actually kicking somebody else that's already a higher authority than you off of page 1.
Yeah.
And so we can get you all the way to page 2 in spot 4 or spot 5 in the Google Map Pack rankings, and you're still not going to get phone calls because you've gone from spot 15 to spot 12 to spot 8 to spot 4. That's really good progress, but it's still actually not going to result in actual phone calls or new leads to your business because it doesn't really happen until you actually jump to page 1. And so when we go from spot 4 in the Map Pack rankings to spot 3, now you're on page 1, and that's when the phone calls will actually start to happen. I wouldn't even start to expect that to happen until months 6 and beyond. We want to see progress in the first 6 months, but don't expect any phone calls, any leads. If you get some, that's great. That's an extra win. But if you don't have, and this is where I do the unselling, if you don't have the commitment to this campaign for a full year, forget actually expecting phone calls at month 6, because it may not actually happen until month 7 or 8. But if you don't have a full commitment to this for a year, then let's not even do it, because it really will take at least a full year to really build your authority. And it's kind of like a snowball downhill. Every month, every time we do more, it starts to build more and more momentum. But you're not going to actually see phone calls, new leads for many, many months until we actually move you all the way to page 1. And you didn't get, your competitors didn't get to page 1 overnight, and we're not going to overtake them overnight. And so you have to have a commitment to this. That's a full year. And then you'll really see the ROI on this in months, I'd say usually months 8 to 12 is where you really see that snowball gaining momentum, and you're really getting a lot of leads, and that ROI starts to just really snowball and add up on you. But those first 6 months are going to be all output and investment from you. And so I don't want to get a phone call from you in month 4 going, why am I not getting any phone calls? I literally will say that, right? Because now you're addressing this. Do you understand what I'm saying? Yes. Are you committed to this beyond just, like the first 2 to 3 months? Are you committed to this for a full year? Do you understand that you may not get any phone calls or new leads until months 5, 6, 7, or 8? Do you understand that? Yes, I do. Are you sure you're committed to this? Yes, I am. Okay, awesome. Let's move forward. Right. So that process of leading them up to that commitment and then verbally getting that to them and then kind of saying, are you sure? Are you really committed to this? Because it's really important, because I don't want to be getting that phone call from you going, I'm really, really nervous. We're not getting any phone calls. And it's only the third month, right? Because we'll reference back this time right now, this meeting, and I'm going to just bring you right back to this commitment that you're making right here and now, that you understand it's going to take 6 to 12 months, not 2 to 4, right? Yeah. If you can actually just verbally and directly address that, 90% of the people are not going to then in month 4 start churning on you or getting all nervous, because they'll remember that commitment, and you'll have the video recording of it from Zoom or Google Meet or whatever that you can just send them. Here's the link to our meeting. I just want you to recall what we discussed here and the commitment that it's going to take. And if you give this the full year, you'll be very, very happy with that commitment, and you'll be happy that you stuck it out.
Yeah. I love that, my man, too. I have a mentor who says before you sell anything, you should always test for commitment, especially if you're selling something transformational, and you just hit the nose or the nail right on the head. Because if they're imagining like what a lot of people do, which is like you described an event where I'm going to hire you, and then 7 days later, but bang, I'm going to be #1 in Google. Then 3 months feels like an eternity. It feels like
especially if you've written 3 checks, right, or paid the bill 3 times. Yeah,
and so you're right. Like a lot of these challenges start when they sell. The other thing, I wanted to mention, because I feel like some things I've learned over the years is metaphors help in describing that. As a lot of people describe SEO as a marathon, not a sprint. I always liked the American football field analogy, where you go, hey, you just handed me the ball at the 20-yard line, just so you know. Like SEO is not a Hail Mary. It's it's a run the ball 3 yards, then 4 yards, and pick up a first down and move the chains and keep doing that. And that's all we're going to do. And so, a lot of times it's helpful to them to say, hey, remember you handed me the ball at the 20. I'd say we're at the 35-yard line right now. So we've moved up 15 yards, but we still have a ways to go. And then also like reminding them, just like, in football, like you get the points in the last yards, you get the points when you're in the red zone, right? Like, and SEO is very much like that. When you're number one, you usually know it. Like, when I've had clients who were like number one especially for long periods of time, like all day long, people just call them and say, we found you on Google, right? Like they know where it's coming from. Right. But having said that, it's kind of like the air conditioning in my old car, right? Like it either worked 100% full blast max setting or not at all. And SEO is very much like that. So I find giving clients analogies where they can understand, hey, we're moving up the football field. We're not trying to go for a Hail Mary. We're just trying to see 4 yards here, 5 yards there, 6. Right? We had a big play. We just made a first down in one play, but not, not looking for this giant overnight Hail Mary. And despite all that, I found that, sometimes clients will still ask you, they'll call you 7 days later and say, well, I just Googled myself and I'm not number one. So I found that expectation, that like commitment is not a one-time thing just at the sales call. That's probably something that I would say you probably have to do like every 30 days and maybe in the first month, like every week even. Just to get them to buy into like, this is what the process looks like. You're going to see movement towards the goal. And then I'll tell you something that's a little bit of a sneaky trick, but I found for years, it used to drive me crazy because I would see, especially in like bigger markets, that usually around 6 months, I could rank somebody. That was just like our ability back in the day. And it used to drive me crazy when people canceled at like month 4, because I was like, you're almost there. I already got you to number 7. If you just waited 2 more months, like the phone would be obviously ringing. And so I learned that if you sent a picture of a person's family right before they would normally cancel, it makes it real hard to fire you. You go, hey, I love you so much. I just want to send you a picture of your family. And it buys you that extra 2 months or whatever you need for it to actually like, because once the phone calls start coming in, clients usually just leave you alone. Like they don't even care about the report or anything like that.
Another good metaphor to use. Oh, go ahead. Sorry.
No, I was going to say, but like just getting to that point is sometimes half the battle.
Yeah. I'll say another good metaphor. You're right on. Metaphors are really good, just because it helps people's brains, right? The brain make connections, is the same thing. I just used fitness again, but the working out metaphor, right? Like, if you have the SEO approach, like the New Year's Day resolution folks who go out and say, I'm going to, get in shape this year, and 30 days into it, they're already, like 2 weeks. They're getting discouraged, and you're like, so working out is just like SEO. It's a lifelong endeavor. It should be something that we do every single day. And that leads me to another point in selling SEO. I would right up front when I'm talking about, I actually stopped. I would kind of use the term SEO to help them make the connection and say, we don't really do SEO. We do web presence optimization. It's a holistic, complete approach to optimizing your website or web presence, internet presence for your entire company. SEO is really kind of old. I would do that just because it helped kind of separate, because there's so many people that are trying to pitch SEO on all.
Yeah, can I just say we had Seth Price on here earlier, and he's one of the people I've talked to about this. I've asked them, how much do you get pitched in a given week? And he says 100 times a week or 100 times a day, every day. And they have a whole dedicated phone line to like pitches where if you want to give them, you got to leave them a voicemail, and they listen to it once a week. And one of the things he was saying is it's not even just SEO, right? Like they're getting pitched.
Social, PPC, you name it. It's all sorts of
stuff. But not just marketing services, like investments are calling them, the real estate agents, the mortgage broker, the insurance. So they get 100 pitches a day. So like they're seeing this, like they know SEO exists, just so you guys know.
Yeah, and so I would just differentiate myself by saying we don't really do SEO anymore. SEO is kind of dead. The old way of people who use the term SEO are kind of still stuck in old ways, and that's just more of a framing, sales strategy or tactic than it is anything else. But when it comes to SEO, we're an ethical SEO company. Like we don't do like the black hat stuff or the stuff that will get you banned or get your site penalized. Are you looking for an ethical SEO company, or are you looking for someone who will kind of do all the tricks and games and get you ranking really quickly and be quiet? No one is going to answer that by saying, no, we're looking for that kind of that company that'll game the system and get us ranking quickly. And if they say that, then you just know, all right, this is not really going to be a good client for me, because they're going to expect super fast results. They want somebody who's going to game the system, right? But I've never had anybody say that's what I want. I would say, no, we want somebody who's going to do this ethically. I'm saying good, because there's plenty of companies out there who are going to try to sell you SEO, going to guarantee you results in 30 days or 90 days or your money back and all these sorts of gimmicks. And we don't participate in any of those gimmicks, right? We're an ethical SEO company. We're not going to jeopardize your reputation, your domain reputation, your Google business profile reputation, because if you do any of those things that are can potentially get you ranking really fast, they have the same potential to get you penalized really fast. And getting out of Google's sandbox or out of a penalty after you've done something really wrong is extremely hard, and it will damage your business for many, many months, if not permanently. And so we don't participate in those types of things. If you're looking for that kind of company, we're not it. Do you understand? Are you sure we're still a good fit? Let them say that. Yes, no, we're looking for someone who's going to do it the right way. Okay, great. So now that we've established that we're going to only do ethical things that aren't going to get you banned, understand that we have to do just the right activity every single month, every week. We have to be doing the right activity, the best practices that we know that the algorithm loves and wants to see. Now, we're going to do some things that are maybe kind of tiptoe into the gray area in terms of generating more traffic for you or doing some things like that. But understand that when it comes to doing things, performing SEO, doing web presence, it's a process, and we have to just execute on the best practices every month. So we're going to be generating really good content for you every month, and this is a process. So it's not going to be these quick little fixes and gaming the system that gets you the results that you want in 30 or 60 days that are going to also get you penalized in 120 days and then wipe out everything that we've done, right? So understand that by doing it in the right way, we're just going to be doing the activity. You're paying us to do the things that Google wants to see and that you're not currently doing, which is why you're on page 4 or 5 or 10 or whatever it is for these keywords that your competitors are ranking for. We're going to be doing that work. So what you're paying for us is the activity and the work that we're going to be doing for you. So we'll be providing you content every month. We'll be providing you some reporting every month. We'll show you progress every month. But remember, this is like working out, right? We've got to just keep doing the right things, and eventually the results start to come. The results start to come. And if you don't ever give up doing the right thing, this is like a company lifestyle change in doing the best practices around SEO. And we'll be doing that stuff for you every single month as your trusted partner. Right? So that sets you up for them. What they're paying you for is not just the results, because a lot of people think I'm paying you to get results. No, you're paying me to do the work and to perform the best practices that will help you get the results. But the results, I'm not the one at Google pulling a lever going, all right, it's month 6, time to rank them, or they won't pay their next bill. We're going to keep doing the best practices for you that we know will get the results. But as to when exactly that starts to happen, that we're not even in control of that. And so that's why we don't provide guarantees, because that's really inauthentic, right? I can't guarantee you exactly when the algorithm is going to say it's time for them to go from spot 4 to spot 3 because there's more authority there than there was last month or last week, right? That's an algorithmic decision that we don't even control. We just have to keep doing the things that we know are going to continue to build your authority in your industry and in your local market.
Yeah, and I like that. And can I just add, for a lot of you guys who listen to what Lane said, there can be a tendency to think that because you have somebody interested, you have to kind of get them all excited about all the phone calls and the increased business they're going to get as a result of their SEO, and that you then can't almost unsell or qualify, as Lane is saying, that you'll lose sales along the way. And I'll tell you, 19 times out of 20, you won't lose sale at all for doing the things he described. And the one
The
time
psychology of unselling brings them to you. They want to actually, it's just the psychology of it. Yeah, Frankie's right. You won't lose them. And the ones that you do lose, good, because they would have been a churned client. And you and we all, if you're a seasoned agency owner, you've been in this game long enough, you know that those first 3 months are the heavy lift for you as the agency, right? So you're putting all that heavy lifting and working and onboarding them and building out whatever you're going to do in those first few months, reporting and all that. That's the heavy lift. Once you get things going and the results start to come, it gets easier, right? As you get going on down going down the road. So if you lose a client in month 2 or 3, that can oftentimes even be a loss to you. So you don't want to churn, and that's always just momentum.
Especially if you got a salesperson.
What's that?
Especially if you got a salesperson and people involved in fulfillment. Usually those people are getting paid first. So if the client leaves, month 2, then often everybody else got paid, but you as the owner didn't.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, so practice the art of unselling when it comes to SEO. Try to push them out the door. Obviously in a gentle way, and obviously in a way where I'm actually trying to draw them to me, but I want them to be both really committed to this, and they really understand this is not just going to be a couple of months and now all of a sudden we're just going to be out celebrating all the new business because your business has been transformed magically in 2 or 3 months. This is going to be a commitment to a process and a commitment to best practices, and what you're going to be paying us to do is to be doing all that for you. The results, we're not necessarily in charge of that. We can do some things to try and speed them up for you. That's some of our secret sauce, but ultimately there's no real, kind of gaming the system or doing things that are going to jeopardize your domain or company's reputation with the algorithm, because that can be fatal for a business. And so we're not going to do any of that, right? And if you're looking for that kind of company that's going to get you these fast results, we're just not it. It's better for you to go somewhere else for that. You'll probably end up coming back to us in a year after trying a company or 2 like that. But if you're looking for that kind of company, it's just not us, right? Yeah. That's again telling them that, hey, we don't need everyone and we don't want every client. We only want the clients that are committed to this, that are committed to doing it the right way with best practices, not expecting unrealistic things in the process. And you're communicating all that by saying, look, if we're not a good fit, it's okay, right? That art of unselling is the psychology of it is magical, and it just really does prevent this 2 to 4 month churn problem that we started off talking about this morning. It all leads down to our selling properly, creating proper expectations, and actually trying to kind of push them away to see if they really are committed to it and really want to be committed to your process and not some process that they hear in their 100 different pitches a day about how they can get results in 60 days or less.
Yeah, and I think just keeping a little bit with the analogy thing, if you want to get in shape, you better do those push-ups every day, every week, every month, and then also adding in the analogy that your competitor is also exercising well or chasing them, right? You don't have to do
that's a really good point. That's a good point. You need to make that point to them because your competitors aren't all moving still. You're trying to. They've been working out for 3 years and they're way ahead of you. And we're going to have to really do more than they are to catch up. But keep in mind, they're not standing still. They're moving too.
Yeah. Well, let's call it a show, my man, there. For those of you guys who are interested, you guys can check out Lane's work at Quantum Agency. They're one of our actual, I think we have 5 different recommended white label partners, and you guys are the ones we used in our own sort of 90-day challenge. For those of you guys who asked me, how do you build an agency 0 to 10K? Lane is the guy we used. So make sure to check them out. And for those of you guys who haven't seen me, check out the book on Amazon, Beyond the Agency Box. We got lots of goodies about growing an agency. Anyways, it's been fun. Appreciate you guys.
Yeah, and good to be with you everyone today. Good to be with you again, Frankie. I got Frankie's Facebook group down here in the banner, the ticker below. So if you're not a member of Frankie's Facebook group, you kind of follow me or whatever. Make sure and jump into the Frankie's Facebook group, Agency Lifestyle Design. Check out his book. Good dude. Good to see you, my man. Have a great day.
Appreciate you, my man.
You too. Have a great day, everyone. See you.
Yeah, that was fun.
All right, man. Oh, end stream. There we go.